Pet portraits are one of my most frequently painted subjects. They're one of the first things I started offering for sale, and at the moment they are probably the main way I make a little bit of money to support myself as an artist while I attempt to navigate this career and make this a sustainable full-time job. My very first Etsy listing was for a custom pet portrait painting, and that listing is still active today. The painting we're watching come together today is a miniature pet portrait of the lovely Merlin. Now, Merlin's a rescue who found his forever home a couple of years ago, and I was actually commissioned to paint him right at the very start of my art career, so this lovely little guy was one of my very first pet portraits ever sold. Now, I feel my style has changed a little bit since then, so I've definitely been looking for an opportunity to paint this lovely face once more. This painting is a little bit different for me as it's not actually a client commission. This time I wanted to paint Merlin for myself because I've been looking to create a few example pet portraits that I'll be able to use when I exhibit my work in person. This isn't something I do really often, but I'm hoping to enter some craft fairs, or at least one craft fair, or exhibit my work in person at least once through this year. And as pet portraits are one of my main earners at the moment, it seemed sensible that I should have a few examples for people to look through. I like the idea of having a couple of demo portraits out there so people know exactly what they will be getting if they decide they want to commission some work from me. Now, I wanted to take this opportunity for a really shameless plug here before we move on to the rest of the video, and that is just to mention that I am currently open for pet portrait commissions. Now, depending on when you watch this video, if you're watching this many years down the line, then that might not be the case anymore, but if you come across this video close to when I'm posting it, then I am currently available to do pet portrait commissions. You can find more information in my Etsy shop, and I will leave a link to that in the description box below if that's something that you're interested in. Currently, I only sell pet portraits throughout the UK through Etsy, but that's something that I'm definitely interested in expanding, potentially to the US next. So if that's something that you're interested in, then please leave a comment for me below and I will look into that. But I think that's enough of that for now. So to get back to the video, pet portrait commissions are something that I have been finding more and more enjoyment in, and I wanted to share exactly why I love painting them so much in this video. Now, I know that commissions aren't always plain sailing, and they can definitely be a bit difficult sometimes. If that's something you'd like to see a video on, where I talk about some of the struggles of commissioned work and what I attempt to do to try and overcome those struggles, then let me know, because that's something I'd definitely be interested in making. And I have many more pet portraits that I will be painting, so there's lots of time lapses that can be had in the background if that's a kind of video that you'd like to see in the future. But for today's video, we are going to be talking about all of the things that I enjoy about painting pet portraits and why I think they're such a valuable thing to do. So one of the first things that comes to mind when I start to think about why pet portraits appeal to me so much is the fact that I find myself continually pushed out of my comfort zone. Now, I know this might not seem like an immediate benefit, but I do think there is a positive side to being pushed slightly out of your comfort zone every now and then when it comes to your painting. During my experience as an artist, I have faced several challenges with commissions, and quite often I will be asked to paint something which really pushes my abilities. Although this feels quite difficult at the time, I feel it also provides me with an opportunity to grow as an artist in a way that just concentrating on my own ideas doesn't always do. Whenever I work on my own ideas, I feel like there's always this temptation to be a little bit lazy when it comes to choosing a reference. Often I will choose to stick with something that I know I have a good chance of painting successfully, and although it is a great feeling to produce a painting that you're really happy with, I do worry that I wouldn't push myself to improve if I was left completely to my own devices. With pet portrait commissions in the past, I've been asked to change backgrounds, alter composition, remove colours, or perhaps move several subjects so that they're a little bit closer together in the painting. Now, some of these challenges have taught me what not to do, and I think that's equally as important as learning what works for you as an artist. So I know what things to avoid in the future, and I think that's helped me to become better at what I do. And they've also pushed my abilities and led me to try things that I never would have considered otherwise. And I feel like I'm a much more competent artist as a result of this. Another equally important benefit, I think, to working on pet portraits is the consistency they can provide. And for me, this feels particularly important as a self-taught artist. I definitely have a tendency to swap and change my choice of subject matter a lot when it comes to original pieces. I have a bit of a short attention span, and I admire a whole host of really varied artists who focus on lots of different subjects. So if my favorite landscape painter comes up with a brand new piece, then I'm immediately inspired to go out and paint a landscape. Or if I happen to be watching Portrait Artist of the Year, then I feel like I must go out and do a self-portrait straight away. So I'm constantly switching up what I choose to paint as an artist. Over the last couple of months, I have painted florals, still life, wildlife portraits. I've painted livestock and butterflies and amphibians. I've painted several landscapes, including a seascape, a sunset, and for my last YouTube video, I painted several self-portraits. So as you can see, that's definitely an eclectic mix of paintings, and I do struggle to focus on just one thing at a time. I actually think a bit of variety is not so much of a bad thing as a fledgling artist. I think by exploring multiple subjects, it really allows me to experience a whole range of paintings, and this in turn will hopefully help me to discover what I enjoy painting the most, what areas I show the most promise in, and what kind of direction I want to be going in as an artist. So it's not necessarily too much of a bad thing to have a bit of variety in your work. However, this lack of consistency can definitely make it difficult to judge whether or not I'm actually improving as an artist. I find that I don't give myself enough time to get good at any particular subject before I'm already rushing on to the next thing, and I struggle to see a project through, so I start lots of things rather than working to get really good at just one of those things. I think this lack of consistency can be particularly troubling for myself as a self-taught artist because I'm reliant on my own ability to analyze my work so that I can make sure I'm actually making progress. And if I take one of my early pet portraits and I attempt to compare it to a more recent landscape, for example, it can be quite difficult to compare the two. I might be able to spot a few technical improvements, but as the technique can vary so much between drastically different subjects, it's sometimes quite difficult to discern whether you've actually made any progress at all. The thing I love about pet portraits is that they have remained a consistent part of my portfolio for the past year and a half. And comparing my recent efforts to my early work, I definitely see an improvement. Now, I know I still have a ways to go with this, but I also know by comparing my pet portraits that my colour mixing is better. I think I have a better understanding of colour theory. My brushwork looks a little bit more confident in more recent pieces, and I understand how to layer paint now in a way that probably would have resulted in a bit of a muddy mess just a year ago. And I think for those of us that are self-taught, it is nice to have a reminder every now and then that your practice is actually paying off and that slowly but surely you are becoming a more accomplished artist. And I think having a little consistency in what you do is a really great way to evaluate your changing skill set. Now, I feel like it would be a bit remiss of me to omit one of the more obvious benefits of pet portraiture, even though it feels a little bit of a superficial reason, and that is that there is a demand for it. And I think that's important enough that it can be considered as a separate point. Now, if you love to paint pet portraits, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking on commissioned work that there is a demand for. I think it's a really great way to gain experience as an artist by hopefully having a steady stream of commissions coming through. It's a great opportunity to earn a little bit of money when you're just starting out, and that's never a bad thing if you're looking to do this as a job rather than just as a hobby. I also think commission work can provide you with a really great platform in which you can reach a wider audience. With every pet portrait I've completed, I feel like there's huge potential there to reach a wider audience, and that can be by being referred by that client to their friends or family members, or by gaining repeat custom if you were able to create a really great piece. It's a great opportunity to try and establish yourself in the art world and to begin to build up a bit of a name for yourself. And I think the importance of that shouldn't be overlooked. Now, moving on from that slightly more superficial side to pet portraiture benefits, another thing that I really enjoy about painting pet portraits is the fact that it's an opportunity to paint something that's truly meaningful to my clients. Now, often when I'm choosing something myself to paint, I am choosing something that I feel looks nice and that might make a nice painting, but there's not always a deeper meaning behind it. Whereas with pet portraits, you are painting something that is someone's family member, a companion, or a much-loved friend. And I can't tell you how happy it makes me to see an emotional response to my paintings. It's such a lovely feeling to share a finished piece and to be able to see a genuine and really heartfelt reaction. I feel really honoured to be able to create such an important memento of a client's much loved pet and to have created something that will hopefully have a lasting impact. The final point I wanted to make in this list of pet portrait benefits is a little bit of a personal one. So I guess it will either resonate with you or maybe it won't, depending on your likes and dislikes. But the reason I love doing this so much is that I absolutely love animals. They have always been such a huge part of my life. I've had pets since being younger, including mice, goldfish, hamsters, rabbits, and a lovely dog. And all of my jobs leading up to this point have involved working with animals in some way, be that domestic or wildlife. So it makes sense that painting animals should form a large part of my work as an artist. I feel incredibly at home painting dogs, cats, horses, and rats. I think as artists, we naturally gravitate towards subjects that are meaningful to us. When you care about the things that you're painting, there is a desire there to do the best work you possibly can in order to do your favorite subject justice. And if you have the opportunity to paint what you love, why wouldn't you go for it? So, to summarize, I believe there are many more benefits to pet portrait commissions than may initially meet the eye. As with any kind of artwork, there really is no limit as to what you can achieve. You can push your paintings, improve your skill, incorporate new techniques, you can introduce narrative, and ultimately work towards creating really beautiful works of art. Pet portraits don't need to be formulaic. They don't need to be just another commission. You can make them as vibrant and lively, as meaningful and as painterly as you like. The sky really is the limit, and I'm excited to be on this journey and to share my progress with you. Now, just before I finish this video, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of you who have subscribed recently, who have liked these videos, or who have left me the loveliest comments, which are much appreciated. I've just reached 50 subscribers, and I know in the grand scheme of things, when you compare that to some of the really big channels out there, that feels quite small. But for me, it really feels like an important milestone, and I'm pleased with the progress so far. So I just wanted to say thank you to those who have subscribed and interacted with this channel so far. If this has been a video that you've enjoyed and you'd like to see more art related content, then please feel free to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if it's something that you liked, or leave me a comment. And thank you for watching this far. I hope you've enjoyed watching this painting come together. I really enjoyed painting it, and I'll leave you now to watch as I just apply the finishing touches. I will be back again with some more art related content, so I will see you again next time.